Ned, please, we need to deal with these issues. We need to deal with these issues.
If she needs more money, we give her more money.
This is not about the money. She doesn't want any more money.
How do you know that?
Well, I spoke to her. She wants full custody of Monica.
When?
Yesterday.
You talked to her yesterday and you never told me anything about it. You have been talking to her behind my back.
It's not like that.
What? What is it like? Because I can't give you children, you'd rather talk to the surrogate who had your baby. You're killing me, Tom.
I was only trying to help. Please, let's sit down and figure out how to get our baby back.
What is there to talk about? Huh? For 15 years. 15 good, long years. We have been looking for a baby. We finally get our sweet little angel. And he's here telling me that we are going to lose her.
Mrs. Timber, there are no laws regarding surrogates in Kenya. I'm being practical here and telling you as it is.
I want my baby back.
Ned, please, honey.
Please. Don't honey me. You get my baby back from her. I don't care how you're going to do it. I just want my baby back.
Well, I'll do the best
It is not about trying. I want my baby back.
Hey, please. Please. Please calm down.
I just want my baby back, Tom. That's all I want. For 15 years, I've been waiting for this baby. For 15 years, I've prayed for a baby. I finally get my sweet little angel, and she takes her away from me.
Please.
This is not fair, Tom. This is not fair. I just want my baby back. This is not fair.
Do we have a precedent of a custody battle between the surrogate mother and the baby's father and mother?
What?
Has there ever been a custody battle between a surrogate mother
and the baby's parents? Yes, a couple, but not in Kenya. Why?
How was it settled?
Off the top of my head, I can remember the 1986 Baby M, which is a pseudonym for Melissa Stern. It was an American child custody case where between the birth mother and the sperm donor father.
That's exactly the situation my clients are in.
It sounds vaguely familiar. The case was held in the state of New Jersey.
Yes. I don't have the particulars, but I recall reading that within 24 hours of the surrogate transferring the child to the other mother, she wanted the baby back. So the other parents skipped town for fear of losing their child, and the surrogate mother took the matter to court.
Oh, yes. And it was in February 1988. I think that's the court that made the ruling.
Aha. The Supreme Court of New Jersey invalidated surrogacy as against public policy, but in dicta affirmed the trial court's best interest of the child analysis. The Supreme Court transferred the case to the family courts, and in the family courts, the child's parents were awarded full custody and the surrogate's visitation rights.
And the court specifically addressed the issue of surrogates who were genetic parents, leaving open the question of whether gestational surrogates also had parental rights and whether gestational surrogates were violating any public policy.
But that's American law.
When it comes to family matters, the laws of the two jurisdictions are not far apart. The child's best interests are a priority.
Mwako.
Feeling better?
Nothing beats a good cry. Can we talk?
Oh, yes, sure. Please, excuse me.
I'm sorry about my outburst earlier on.
Well, nothing to apologize for.
Thank you.
So tell me about these services.
Where do I start?
Anywhere.
So we looked into the next option, adoption.
Which I was totally against. I wanted to get Tom's baby. I wanted to raise a baby who was part of Tom. So we went on the lookout for a surrogate.
We didn't know how to go about it.
And I was done pretending that everything was okay. So we told Tom's parents of the situation. And interestingly enough, they too suggested surrogacy. So we all went out in search for a surrogate for our baby.
About a couple of weeks later, my mom calls me with the good news. Apparently, Claire Tuta, who's like an adopted child that my parents had volunteered to be our surrogate.
Yes.
Thank you for agreeing to meet me on such short notice. Please sit.
I needed to know exactly what was going on.
As I mentioned on the phone, I am the lawyer representing the Timbers.
Yes. I feel so sorry for them. Honestly, I do. But my intentions were pure and out of the kindness of my heart. But
I asked my colleague to join us. Kelsey, this is Claire Newton, the Timbers surrogate. She being a mother, I thought she would be better placed to try to fit into your shoes as opposed to me.
you don't have children.
No, well, I do. 3 of them, all grown.
Oh, but you're a father.
Yes. Well, we were just getting started. Now, this is not something so formal. I was hoping that we'd be able to see each other's points. We are speaking on behalf of the Timbers.
I'm sure Nate hates me so much right now.
On the contrary. She is, the best word to describe it, hurting. She's been trying to have a child for 15 years and she finally had a chance.
I don't know exactly how to explain this, and I cannot say that I really know what happened. But the one thing that I do know is that the moment I held that baby in my arms, touched her soft face, kissed her tiny little fingers, I knew right there and then just one thing. I cannot give her up. She's my baby. She's my baby. That's all I know and that's all I care about.
I know exactly what you're describing. I have a son. It's a maternal bond. But you had a contractual agreement with Nate and Tom Timber. You have to fulfill your obligations.
If you know what it is like to hold the baby in your arms, then you'd not ask me to give her up. Thank you for your time.
The Timbers intend to take the matter to court.
She's my baby.
I'm sorry, I wasn't of much help.
No. You did just fine. I just wanted to be sure of something.
What's that?
She has forged a strong bond with the child. It will be difficult to separate them now. She'll fight for the baby to the hilt. Tom, Nate?
Hey, Mwako.
I know this is taking a toll on you.
You have no idea.
Well, children's matters are usually decided upon very swiftly, so this should be over soon.
As long as I get my baby back.
I'll do the best I can.
I know you will. Tell me, is the fact that this is unprecedented working in our favor?
In this instance, usually, yes.
Is it true they say that you have 97% winning rate?
That's what they say. Well, please.
You're
Please.
being modest. I hope I'm in the 97 percentile.
Please. Please, is this necessary?
What?
Bringing the baby to court.
Mwako, you know I always play fair.
Well, but bringing the baby to court.
Because she's too young to be left with someone else other than her mother. And your clients insisted on an early hearing. There was no other alternative.
But bringing the baby, who is a subject matter of this case, it's...
Mr. Mwako, I only care about my baby. Anybody else's feelings, opinions are none of my business.
Well, okay.
I'm so sorry.
What on earth is this?
A baby.
I have a pair of eyes.
It's perfectly explainable, my lord.
I want no explanation. What I don't want is a crying baby in the courtroom.
My client found herself in a sticky situation and had to come with the baby to court.
Her baby?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that's why we are here, to ascertain whose baby it is.
Your Honor, please allow me to interrupt. There was no one else qualified enough to be left with her while I was away. There was no other alternative, and I meant no disrespect by that.
Now, this is a court, and it's a formal place of business, and it should be treated as such.
She's no crying baby. I've just changed her and fed her.
Well,
Tom and Nate Timber have been trying for a child for the last 15 years. Fertility treatments, in vitro fertilization did not work. Fate has conspired against Nate's ovaries. They are infertile. So the next available option was to have a child who is related to at least one of the parents. Claire, who is like a sister to Tom, an adopted sister, so to say, agreed to be their surrogate. An agreement was reached, document signed, and on the 17th of June, the year 2009, Claire was artificially inseminated with Tom's sperm.
the ovum in this case is from the surrogate mother?
Yes, the Timbers were with Claire all the way, taking care of all the expenses and attending all the doctor's appointments together until the delivery. And on the 26th of February, a healthy baby girl was born. She was received with joy, relief, and lots of love. As the papers for the adoption was being drafted, Claire discharged herself from hospital and went to an undisclosed destination. She left only a note. The Timbers want their baby girl. They are the rightful parents. From the moment that Claire agreed to be surrogate, she relinquished all parental rights and handed over the child to the Timbers, although still unborn at this time. She is their daughter. We are seeking the court's assistance to unite this little baby girl to her loving parents.
There is no law governing surrogacy in Kenya. Even while Claire Tuta entered into a contract, one that she signed, she is not legally bound to it. Surrogacy contracts are not recognized, and I submit, not enforceable in Kenya. Such a contract would be against public policy. In the circumstances, my lord, this case should be dismissed without further ado. My client made it clear to the Timbers that she has no intention whatsoever to give up her child. The Timbers offered her 300,000 for the child, which she rejected. The stakes went higher to 500,000, then 850,000, to no avail. It is not about the money. They should have followed the proper channels for adoption and adopted a child. In the best interest of the child, let her remain with her mother, Claire Tuta, my client.
Very well. Rest assured that the child's interest shall be taken care of by the court.
Generally, surrogacy isn't practiced in Africa.
Well, the practice of surrogacy in Africa, I know it is there, but the question that I have is it documented?
Well, no documentation, there's no backup for Mwako's case.
Well, the UK law on surrogacy is similar, seeing that our laws are just the same as them. But maybe this would help. Surrogacy is legal in the UK, but surrogate mothers cannot be paid. They can accept only reasonable expenses for costs incurred during the pregnancy. They even have an organization called Childlessness Overcome Through Surrogacy, COTS in short, which was set up in 1988.
Well, our couple should just have used a UK surrogate.
Hey, and listen to this. And the organization has since arranged more than 350 surrogate births.
What? Anything in Africa? The UK is too far-fetched. Our cultural differences will definitely work against us.
Well, that may be so, eh?
Listen, I'm looking through the Children's Act, adoption laws, anything that we can use.
The first day the baby was born, her name is Monica. We decided to call her Monica. It was the best day of my life. I mean, seeing a part of me in this world, it is an unimaginable, indescribable feeling. Being a father is the most wonderful feeling in this world.
Yes, and that has been robbed from you right now.
Objection.
Withdrawn. Why did you opt for surrogacy?
Fertility treatments, in vitro fertilization had failed. It had been 15 years since we got married. It was time to put this matter into perspective. My wife and I discussed about it. We even discussed our options with our parents.
They gave you the idea?
No, not entirely. It sort of came up. See, the reason why we were not conceiving was because my wife's ovaries were not viable. My sperms were. So instead of adopting a child who didn't share any of our genes, why not get one who had at least one of our genes?
So a decision was made to look for a surrogate mother?
Yes, as a family, it was unanimous.
Go on.
About a week later, my mother informs me that Claire Tuta had volunteered to be our surrogate.
How well and how long had you known Claire?
About half of my entire life. My parents had adopted her while we were teenagers. Her father and mother and brother had died, and she had no one to take care of her.
She was not legally adopted. Are you blood relatives?
No, not really, not at all. They just took care of her. She's like family. At the moment, she has 2 children of her own.
She's like family, so when she offered to be surrogate, You felt comfortable and safe enough to go ahead with it.
Yeah, exactly. It is very important to do these things with someone you fully trust. And we trusted her, or so we thought.
Did you offer her any money as compensation?
Yeah, the agreement was that we, of course, take care of her medical bills and all expenses incurred during or for pregnancy. After delivery and full adoption, 300,000 shillings would be given to her.
So there was monetary gain?
Objection. The monetary aspect of the deal was an incentive and not a payment for the surrogacy.
Whether it was an incentive or not, she was due to receive 300,000 shillings upon delivery. And despite the fact that she had agreed to be their surrogate, she also agreed to accept the 300,000 shillings. Am I right?
Yes.
So there was monetary gain?
On her part, yes.
You mentioned other expenses, which was necessitated by her being pregnant.
Yes.
Which were these?
We did not want her to be stressed in any way for the sake of the baby.
Yes.
So we got her an apartment close to her place of work.
Which you paid for?
Yes. It was a walking distance to her place of work, and we also took care of her monthly utility bills.
That being power, water, security and garbage collection?
Yes. We also took care of her household shopping for herself and her 2 children.
You took care of her entire family?
Yes. Her job, well, it isn't so well paying, so we thought...
what about her children's expenses?
We paid school fees for them.
So during the 9 months that she was carrying your pregnancy, you did everything for her, despite the fact that she had a full-time job?
Yes.
So all she did was save her salary?
Objection.
Withdrawn. Did you give her an allowance?
Yes, that too.
A very generous man. Here is a recount of all the expenses. I want you to look at them and tell the court how much each item cost. House rent?
35,000 per month.
Water, electricity, etc.
4,500.
Household shopping?
About 7,000 shillings per month.
Her allowances?
10,000.
School fees?
We paid for the 2 children for 2 terms, that's 60,000 per term.
That comes to 240,000. For the 9 months, it's a whopping 678,500. That sounds to me like exploitation.
Objection.
Isn't it? In 9 months, she incurred expenses of 678,000, fully paid for. She doesn't need a job, if you ask me.
Mr. Mwako, cut the suckers in.
It is legal to get a surrogate contract in South Africa. Hey, wait a minute. It is illegal if one enters into an agreement for monetary considerations. The development started when a 48-year-old woman in Nini gave birth as a surrogate to triplets genetically related to her daughter and son-in-law in April 1987. Now, this story is also referred to as the Ferreira George case. It was a landmark case in South Africa, which was also received coverage around the world. Despite the odd constellation that the surrogate mother was carrying her own grandchildren, everything worked out well for all its participants.
It was okay. This was non-commercial. Claire was supposed to receive 300,000 shillings 1 week after the delivery of the baby. So if this was South Africa, then it would have been illegal. But who would get custody of the child?
That's the big question.
Was it compulsory for you to take care of all her expenses, or was it out of the kindness of your heart?
some things go without saying. She was carrying my baby, and it was an obligation as far as I was concerned.
But you were not forced to do it.
No, I was not.
So it was just a selfish thing for you to do on your part. All you cared about was the child in her womb. You have known her for years and never even once offered to pay her rent.
I had no obligation to do that.
Did she ask to move to a bigger apartment closer to her workplace?
She was living far from her place of work, and the commuting would have been very exhausting.
Did she ask to move apartments?
No.
Did she ask for help with her son's school fees?
Well, my parents were under the impression that...
Answer the question.
No.
Did she ask for a monthly stipend? Did she demand for household shopping?
No.
So, the expenses you bore were out of your own good heart, so to speak, and not because she demanded it.
Sir, if you're a man of honor, like I suppose you are, there's no way you let the woman carrying your child be weighed down by unnecessary baggage if you can help it.
Is she the mother of the child?
Yes, she is.
Nothing further, my lord.
We have been looking for a baby for the last 15 years. It has been rough, exhausting, and a painful process. And when Claire volunteered to be a surrogate for our baby, it was a dream come true.
Didn't it bother you that the child will never be half yours but hers?
The baby would have Tom's blood. That's all that mattered.
How well did you know Claire before you agreed to this arrangement?
Not too well. I knew her as a family friend to my husband's family.
So you had a contract drawn?
Yes.
Why?
I had a contract drawn just for a little cushioning.
You thought Claire would not go ahead with it?
Not really. Maybe, but partly, yes.
Why?
I'd spoken to many women, and they all feared that Claire might find it very difficult to let go of the baby, especially after delivery.
Did Claire give you an indication that she would not honor the contract?
Not at all. We went for all the clinics together. We went for the ultrasound together. I used to go see her every day just to talk to the baby. You know, they say that the baby can hear you while still in the womb.
Maybe.
I wanted her to get to know me early enough. So I resigned. I quit my job 4 weeks before her due date. I wanted to give her all the love, the care, and the attention that she deserved. We prepared a baby room for her. We bought her clothes. We bought her toys. We had a stroller, and we also had a cot. Yeah. I'd waited for this moment my entire life.
Tell us what happened on the delivery day.
I was with her almost the entire time. When she contracted, I rushed her to hospital and called my husband. I was with Claire in the delivery room. We screamed and pushed together. It was the most amazing thing in my entire life. My baby Monica was born on 26th February at 6:05 a.m. At 6:06, she cried the most joyous and sweetest cry I have ever heard. She was perfect. My little angel was just perfect. When I held her in my arms, my life finally had a purpose. I felt that my life was finally fulfilled. Claire asked to hold her. and the doctors advised that she should breastfeed her. The first milk has very essential nutrients, which are very good for the baby. So she did. In between, baby Monica was with me.
Tell us what happened the next day.
We went to get the adoption papers from our lawyer. We had gone for half an hour. When we came back, she was gone. The baby was gone.
Is this the note she left behind?
Yes.
Read it.
Nate, Tom, I'm sorry, but I cannot give her up. I love her too much. Claire. Just like that. My whole life in a note.
I'm sorry.
I want my baby back. Please.
You obviously did some research on maternal bonding.
As far as I am concerned, I was an expectant mother, very anxious, and any information I could get was vital to me.
At what stages is the maternal bond forged?
During pregnancy and childbirth, and also by holding her, gazing into her eyes, kissing her, watching her while sleeping, caressing her. I mean, I formed my bond with baby Monica while I had her first heartbeat during the ultrasound. I even have pictures of her of the first day while she was still a little fetus. And now, baby Monica is here.
What about Claire? Did she bond with the baby? Nate.
Isn't that question best suited for Claire and not me?
Oh no, you were there. You saw her hold her. You watched her breastfeed. You were there when Claire and the child bonded, weren't you?
Yes.
She provided the ovum, and the baby was conceived in her womb. How can she be your child?
Because she gave birth to her on our behalf.
So you say. So you say. Nothing further, my lord.
We checked in all African countries and there isn't any case that is in our favor. There has never been a case like this before.
What about in other foreign countries?
There's a mix. If this case was held in the United States, Claire would have custody of the baby in no time. If it was the United Kingdom, it's the exact opposite. Now, Nate and Tom would have custody of the baby. If it was held in South Africa, where surrogacy is legal, Nate and Tom would have custody of the baby. But they used Claire's genes, which is illegal. And I think that's where the complication arises. But there's also the other matter of the 300,000 shillings, which is also illegal.
Basically, we have nothing to back us up.
Sorry, this case is just too complex. And already, Claire is considered a legal parent.
And the agreement they had means nothing at all. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah. I'm heading back to the office, and good luck.
Yes, I need that.
Why did you decide to carry Tom Timber's child?
Being a member of their family, I of course was aware of their plight. Tom's family is like my family. Tom's parents are like my own. They brought me up. I was orphaned. It was one way of expressing my gratitude. I saw it as a way of repaying them for their kindness.
And you did so, expecting no valuables in return.
Yes, as I said, they are family.
But they offered to pay for your expenses while you were pregnant.
They were concerned, worried, and anxious, which I understood. I am a receptionist at a small bank with 2 sons who are attending private school. So they said that the financial stress would be a burden to me and the baby.
Why?
This would have been my 3rd child.
Oh, I see.
I did everything they requested me to. I did everything the doctors advised me to. I did everything and anything to ensure that the baby was well and healthy. Nate and Tom were wonderful to me. They took great care of me. I feel sorry for them.
Why?
I have 3 children of my own. My life without my babies, I cannot even imagine it. Nate without a child, I feel her pain. I am so sorry.
Why did you decide not to give up your baby?
My baby's name is Natalie. I named her after Nate because without her, I would not have this little bundle of joy.
Why did you decide not to give up Natalie?
Natalie is the prettiest little baby girl I've ever seen. I can't even explain it, but the moment that I saw her and held her, I knew right there and then one thing, that I just cannot give her up no matter what. She is me. She is a part of me. She means everything to me. I'm willing to pay back every single cent that was spent on my pregnancy. I will pay it all back, but the baby girl stays with me, with her mother, with her real biological mother.
Nothing further, my lord.
How early did you develop your bond with Natalie?
While I was pregnant. It grew stronger by the day. Giving birth, I guess, sealed it.
So while you're still pregnant, you knew that a part of you wanted to keep the baby?
No, not until I saw her and held her. That's when I knew it.
What about the contractual agreement you had with Tom and Natalie?
When I signed the contract, I did not know what it would feel like to hold Natalie in my arms.
Contracts are not made to be broken at will.
The circumstances changed.
You knew that your change of heart would deeply hurt Tom and Natalie. They had given up their lives for the baby.
She is my baby. I love her.
This has been a difficult matter to handle. It did not help much that it is an unprecedented case. Surrogacy is still a foreign concept in our world. We are still held by customs, traditions, and certain aspects of life as quite different from the rest of the world. This case has demonstrated that our family and adoption laws in particular are in dire need of re-evaluation and reforms to suit the current status and needs of modern life. My hands are tied, and as surrogacy contracts are not enforceable, I have to rule for the respondent and dismiss this suit. Natalie Tuta stays with her biological mother until a further custody appeal is heard.
Your Honor, please. This has been very hard and a painful process for me.
Well, Mrs. Timber, there is no law that compels Miss Tuta to hand over the baby to you.
But she signed a contract.
Unfortunately, that is just a piece of paper. You should have sought legal advice before investing so much emotion and time on this.
Your Lordship, please.
In other countries, this is legal, and it can suit parents like you. But in Kenya, no. I'm sorry. This court is adjourned.